Kaido, king of the beasts and one of the most powerful characters in One Piece. A man who is so strong he wasn't even capable of killing himself. And being one of the 4 emperors of the sea, Kaido was truly strong. But how strong exactly was Kaido? Well, in this video I'm going to tell you exactly why Kaido was the strongest pirate in all of One Piece. So if you do end up enjoying this video, consider dropping a like and subscribing, and without further ado, let's get into it. To understand why he is the strongest, we need to take a look at Kaido himself and understand what makes him so strong, because Kaido is not actually a human. Kaido actually belongs to a mysterious race called the Oni. The Oni are actually a race of giants, and not just any giants, but a larger species of giants. Here's what a normal giant looks like, and here's what an Oni looks like. The Oni race was so strong that an Oni called Ors, who lived 500 years ago, would literally pull entire continents together. And just to give you a sense of scale here, the Earth in One Piece is approximately 2.7 times larger than the Earth we all know and love. So if we take Australia for example, which is the smallest continent, and only double its size for a generous comparison, it would be around 17 million square kilometers. And for those watching in America, imagine Ors pulling the entirety of South America. Like, that is just absolutely ridiculous. Now it's unclear whether or not Kaido is half Oni or what's going on there, as his parents haven't been revealed and he obviously isn't a giant himself. But the fact that he belongs to the same race as creatures who could literally pull an entire continent with a rope definitely explains why this man was just so unnaturally strong. Even as a teenager, Kaido would literally allow himself to be captured by the Marines just to eat the food on the ship and then break out when he had eaten. And of course, if you're pulling stunts like this, you're going to get noticed, which is exactly what happened, as Kaido was recruited by Whitebeard to join the Rocks Pirates. And when the Rocks Pirates went to God Valley, that's where Kaido got another power up, as he ate the fish fruit, modeled dragon. So now, in addition to Kaido's just nuclear amount of strength that came with his heritage, his strength was then further increased by his mythical Zoan devil fruit. And if that wasn't enough, he can now turn into a flying dragon at 8,000 kilometers or 5,000 miles in length that can shoot literal beams of fire. So yeah, at this point, Kaido's power is just honestly comical, and we haven't even gotten to his main strength yet, which of course is his haki. And Kaido, being the absolute G that he is, of course possesses all 3 types of haki: Conqueror's, Observation, and Armament haki. So let's go over everything so far. Kaido, in possession of the outrageous strength that came with his heritage, then had that strength amplified by his mythical Zoan devil fruit that also made him able to turn into a flying dragon that can shoot literal beams of fire, as well as possessing all 3 types of haki, so he can knock people out by just looking at them, can literally see into the future with his future sight, along with being able to reinforce his body with armament haki. Kaido genuinely takes the word strong to an entirely different level. But even this level of strength, especially in the One Piece world, is not entirely unmatched. In fact, many people say that other pirates like Shanks, Blackbeard, or even Luffy are stronger than Kaido, and I'm here to explain why that is just not the case. So hear me out. Well, apart from it literally being confirmed by Oda himself, as Kaido's epithet in the story is literally the world's strongest creature, you could, I guess, argue that Whitebeard is the strongest, but his title is the world's strongest man. But if you're a man, you're also a creature. And if you're still not convinced, hear this. In the Wano arc, Kaido fought a multitude of foes. He first one-shotted Luffy after almost killing his entire crew. He then fought another Emperor of the Sea, Big Mom, for 3 days straight. And once the raid on Onigashima started, he was jumped by the Scabbards and then took on an entire army of samurais and minks in their Sulong form. And of course, he won. He and Big Mom then took on Luffy, Zoro, Kid, and Killer. And mind you, these guys were no pushovers. Whilst he may not have been on death's door fighting them, they definitely did damage. And of course, he won. He then started to fight Luffy by himself after he randomly got a huge power up out of nowhere. And Luffy definitely did better than last time, but he was still no match. And Kaido won again. He then fought his own child, Yamato, who possesses the same Oni strength that he does. And just as he was about to defeat her as well, Luffy comes back riding a dragon, leaving Kaido very confused, as he is supposed to be the only dragon. But anyway, Kaido then fights both Luffy and Yamato at the same time. Luffy and Kaido then start fighting again, but this time Luffy and Kaido are genuinely fighting each other, going blow for blow. But Kaido is still, even after all of this, a far cry from going all out. He even decides to just get swashed mid-fight, as he genuinely just does not see Luffy as a threat. The entire time, Kaido has just essentially been training Luffy, as he could have ended the fight at any moment he pleased, but he just wants to see just how strong Luffy is. The fight then continues, but then just as the fight is about to come to an end, a CP0 agent moment interrupts the fight, distracting Luffy and leaving Kaido to win again. But Kaido was not happy as he wanted a clean victory using his own strength. Kaido had now defeated the main character again for the third time, but his struggles were far from over. Kaido could not be defeated by any mere mortal. You would need to be a god in order to defeat someone they call the strongest creature in the world, and that is exactly what happened, as Luffy came back from the dead as the reincarnation of the literal sun god, Nika, had returned, and now Kaido was finally up against a foe worthy of his strength, as Kaido and Gear 5 Luffy went toe to toe atop the roof of Onigashima. But even with the power of the sun god, Luffy still could not manage to defeat him, as Kaido literally beat him out of his new form, forcing him to restart his heartbeat in order to keep fighting. But now the fight had truly begun. It was a legendary battle. The man who was so strong he physically could not kill himself versus a man who had left the mortal realm behind, the sun god, Nika. Kaido and Luffy once again clashed, but even with his new powers and being able to turn not only his environment to rubber, but Kaido as well, he still could not put the Oni down. He needed something stronger and bigger, so he used a new move, Bajirang Gun, which was a punch so huge Luffy's fist measured over 23,000 meters long, which is so big you could take the tallest building in the world, the Burj Khalifa, and multiply it by 28, and that would just make up the width of his fist. And Kaido retaliated by using his flame dragon form, where he enveloped himself in a bigger body, vaporizing everything in sight and making him untouchable in combat. The clash was literally the definition of an unstoppable force versus an immovable object. Kaido said that he would not move out of the way and that he would take Luffy head on, and as Luffy enveloped his fist in advanced armament hockey, they made contact. The clash was so intense that Luffy decimated Kaido's flame dragon form and sent him flying down into Earth's crust. Kaido had finally been bested. The strongest creature in the world was no more, as Kaido fell down into the molten abyss below. But what if I were to tell you that I haven't even mentioned Kaido's strongest feat yet? As during that entire time fighting all those people, Kaido was holding up and moving the entirety of Onigashima throughout the sky. Onigashima is so large that it weighs over 97 million kilograms, and the whole time Kaido was fighting, he was holding up that weight with nothing more than the flame cloud from his devil fruit. So I really just don't see any other character in One Piece with the strength to accomplish a feat like this. Not Shanks, definitely not Blackbeard. Prime Whitebeard could maybe be considered, but in terms of raw strength, Kaido is just unmatched. Now to be clear, just because someone is the strongest does not mean that they will beat everyone in a fight. There are just way too many variables and different abilities others might have, but whilst Kaido may be the strongest, that just doesn't mean that he is the best fighter in One Piece, as he can be defeated. And in the end, it took the combined effort of 3 pirate crews, the allied samurai pirate and mink alliance, his own child, and the reappearance of a literal god to finally put Kaido down. And that is exactly why Kaido is the strongest pirate in One Piece. And yeah, that's about it for this video on Kaido. So if you did end up enjoying this video, consider dropping a like and subscribing. Also tell me down below in the comments if I missed anything or if I got anything wrong, and I'll see you in the next one.